Hello, friends. I may be spamming the feed a bit today and tomorrow. Let me tell you about my 4 favorite comic books of this past week. There was Future's End number 23. I think we're about halfway through here. I don't know if they've announced how many issues Future End is going to be. I think they said Batman Eternal is going to be about 60. I don't know if it's going to be a full 52 issues. It feels like we're, particularly with the revelation at the end of this issue, we're moving into a higher gear. Some more stuff that is at stake is actually going to be fought over soon. And we have the bizarre new version of Brainiac, who is both a planet-sized body, but also apparently this body. Just this continues the comic. It's only really good for people who've already been reading it, but there's great scenes in here from several of the threads. And in opposition to Batman Eternal, this one just continues to always deliver, give you enough story, stay on track with the characters and everything. If anything, some characters that were a bit weak, like the Voodoo group of characters, feel stronger here. Sergeant Rock shows up, an old, bitter, evil man. A little sad about turning Sergeant Rock into evil. Not that I was ever a huge Sergeant Rock fan, but in the 70s, when I started reading comics as a kid, he was kind of a fixture in comics. Sergeant Rock was. I just realized I'm cutting off my own head. Sergeant Rock was a big fixture in comics. The star of endless war comics that DC put out, all drawn by Joe Kubert. He was the tough as nails, never give up American soldier in World War II. Anyway, here we have him here as kind of a villain, or seemingly a villain. Old soldiers never die, they just become evil. Hopefully that's not really true. Anyway, we got the old Mr. Terrific in the farther future. Just a really good story. Everything I've always said about Future's End, it just continues. Very good. It's just solid storytelling. This is often what I want from a comic book. And reading it, I realize how infrequently I get it. Just a solid story about superheroes. And there you go. Witches, I think I've discussed in comments on other people's videos along with them about how this, and agreed with them when they said this was a bit overhyped. So, I don't know, I keep losing my shot of my face. I mean, I'm the most important person in the world. My face has got to be in this. I used to shoot on a iPad, but now I'm shooting with my iPhone, which I got recently. Anyway, was very overhyped. Does not live up to that hype. Because the hype seemed to be saying this was like the scariest horror book ever written and all that kind of stuff. It is a very straightforward, good, strong horror story. Very Stephen King in my mind, with the father who's a writer, a small family group. They've just moved out into the country. There's a major villain who's a bully. There's also the sense of bullying at school and the cruelty of other children, which just all very much rang as Stephen King to me. The ruralness of it. Incredibly good art by Jock. This is like the perfect book for Jock. I'm sure there's other perfect books for Jock. He's a great artist, but I have, of all the comics I've read done by Jock, I'm really appreciating this and the way it's colored. I think he did the colors. Let's see. Where are the credits? I don't know where the credits are. That's interesting. Are they at the back? No. Huh. Well, I think... No, sorry. Matt Hollingsworth colored it. The colorist from Hawkeye and other places. The color is incredible, and so the color and the minimalistic kind of artwork, or the minimalistic black and artwork, work together incredibly well. It is creepy. It would scare small children. I'm imagining teenagers would get a great kick out of it. They list it as M for mature. There's even a nice thing at the back that shows the artwork, both what the inks look like. Wait, does it shows the script for the page, the inks, and then the color page without the inks there. So what the coloring looks like without even the inks there. And that's incredible. That's like a painting. Amazing. It's like Jock creates the underlying structure, and then Matt Hollingsworth literally paints over it. So it feels to me like the colorist is an equal member of the team. So I'm really going to enjoy this, but I'm going to enjoy it not feeling like I'm reading the most brilliant horror comic ever created, but feeling like I'm finally getting Stephen King translated well to the comic book page. And I like that. I've read so many Stephen King novels. I haven't in quite a while, but I must have read 20 or more of them. So I'm looking forward to more of that. Birthright. I was looking forward to this as I didn't know a whole lot about it besides the cover, really. And I was looking forward to it as just a hopefully cool fantasy kind of story, because I like those. But this is a horror story with a fantasy story inside of it, with a horror story inside of that. It was just fantastic art. Just great twists and disturbing psychology. Not just your boy goes through a magic doorway to a awful yet wonderful horror infused fantasy world or something like that. It's got so many layers. I'm really looking forward to what comes next. The setup here is just fantastic. You have to read all the way to the last page to fully appreciate that. And hopefully it will live up to the setup. It could go in a lot of different ways at this point, I realized, thinking about it. So, but it's kind of exciting to see where Joshua Williamson and his art team of Bresson and Lucas take it. Compared to the Jock and Hollingsworth art, it's a bit closer traditional, but it's very rich stuff. Nice, just a really, really enjoyable comic book. $2.99, lots and lots of pages. Also $2.99 with lots and lots of pages. I should say there's a really nice text piece at the back by Scott Snyder. The only flaw with the text piece is it tells you in a nutshell what the basic idea of the witches is, and I don't know if we want to hear that through text or whether we want to discover it through the comic, but small quibble. It includes, it really connects you to Snyder's real life, that's the wrong one, connects you to Snyder's real life inspirations in a good way, and even shows you photographs of this woods and the deserted cars that kind of freaked him out as a kid. And a picture of himself with his eyebrow raised. I don't know if his eyebrow is just always raised. But, yeah, both of these, they can do really fantastic comics for $2.99. Just saying. For $3.99, but also worth it. 32 pages, story, fantastic art, beautiful paper, not a single ad throughout. Annihilator by Grant Morrison and Fraser Irving, published by this new comic book company, which is also a film company, called Legendary. I enjoyed the first issue, but I thought it was kind of just, what I would expect in in the Morrison wheelhouse. Here he takes all the elements of the first issue, the kind of crazy screenplay writer and his character who comes visits him, and the crazy science fiction scenario that he's writing about in his story, and just amps it up so well. And it's such an incredibly well done layering of all these questionable realities of the story. And Fraser Irving this is kind of a perfect book for Fraser Irving with the craziness of it. There's something crazy about Fraser Irving's art that fits the craziness of this story. Maybe makes the craziness of this story, really sells it and makes you love the craziness of it. There are still a lot of pages where Irving just loves this orangey brown color, which does not enough at all to make me get out of the comic book. But I wonder why he's so in love with that color. Unless Grant Morrison says, be sure to put a lot of kind of slightly old pumpkin orange into this comic book. I just got hung up on that. But I loved this comic book, so this was my absolute favorite. All four of those were comics that just wowed me. This is the kind of thing, when I read comic books on this level, I just feel like I'm experiencing a little golden age of comics, whatever you want to call it. Mostly with the indie books, but there is the occasional corporate book like Future's End that really does the trick. There's a few over at Marvel that are the same way. So, I suggest you all go read some comic books. Talk to you later.